Thank you. Hello, hello. If you are joining me, a big welcome. It's good to have you. I'm sorry I'm a bit late. I was just having a few technical difficulties again. I will be editing all the description and everything during the week. I was testing different software to do these live streams, so everything's a little bit muddled, but I will fix that when I go back after the live. Oh dear, look. Right, there we go. Hi Dawn, thanks for joining, nice to have you. All right, I'm going to come back to the sky and just get my bearings with the sky. It's not finished, so I'm going to add on a few more layers there, and I'm working in Polychromos, and I'm doing the whole page in Polychromos, possibly bring out a few gel pens and paint pens, but we'll see how we go. So the idea with the sky is I'm going to be going darkest at the top and then working my way to a lighter hue, and then we will move on to the waves and the fish, possibly do the boat. We'll see how it goes. So just bear with me while I just get my head to land. And as always, I've got all my pencils all muddled up. Oh, goodness. Okay, I'm going to bring in a Prussian Blue, and I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to continue to layer it. So Prussian Blue 246. And I'm doing quite light layers because I really want to get these this gradient quite smooth, and when we've had enough layers we can always take a Derwent blender pencil and just smoothen everything out. How was your week? Did you have a good week? We've had a busy week, bit of wrapping up going on, birthdays in the family, seeing friends. Got a busy week seeing other friends, and my one son's got some scouting events to go to. So yeah, really busy, but good busy, you know. So I'm just going at the back of my pencil in a bit of a cross but also circular kind of motion. And the more I go back and forth over it, I'm adding layers. So each time you go over an area, you're adding a layer. So if you were to count, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, that kind of thing. So you can really add a lot of layers. If you press harder, you can deepen the first layer. but also run the risk of burnishing your paper. Okay, now I'm going to find my mid Phthalo blue. And I'm going to come in, and I'm doing the same thing, just going a little bit higher up, and I'm going to come down. Hi Valentina, nice to have you. Hello Lion and the Lamb, it's lovely to have you. Thanks for joining. Hope you are both well. Yes, Val, if I carry on with this, I will get a smooth effect, especially if I just keep layering until the paper is saturated. But because I'm holding my pencil so far back, it will take many layers to do that. So another thing we can do is make sure that we've got enough pigment on the paper, and then come in with a blender pencil and then push it around that way, which is what I'm planning on doing, because I really don't want to be sitting for 2 hours doing the sky, but I still want to get a nice deep color, and I absolutely don't like seeing the tooth of paper, so it will be a must for me to make sure that it's smooth. And then we're going to come in with a light Cobalt turquoise, which is 154. And I've left this section here a bit white because I just want to create that impression that the sun is really shining quite brightly. .36 is hot, my goodness. That's really, really hot. I think we've been having around 28, so it's been warm. I see, Dawn, you've had some rain. That's cool. That must be, well, I suppose it depends on whether you wanted the rain or not, but if it's been hot for you, then the rain would cool things down. It's a funny one, isn't it? Farmers need the rain and not everyone wants the rain. Yes, Val, I have used odorless mineral spirits for blending. I can show that to you guys if you would like. I do have some here on the table. It works really, really beautifully. But again, you do need to have enough pigment on the paper for it to work properly. It doesn't work very well if you don't have enough layers. And when I was doing a bit of research on it, I watched, I think it's Lacquerie Fine Artist. She does oil paintings and realism. And even her videos where she touches on the solvents, she says make sure you have a lot of layers. If you don't have enough layers, it's not going to give you the effect you want. You're basically just brushing over paper. So you want to have enough pigments. It depends entirely on your preference. It also can depend on paper. I haven't found it to bleed through. If you use too much though, it can seep through to the other side. So I'll show you how I do it. Yeah, I think it's totally up to you. So I've got a few options here. So I use the Winsor Newton Low odor solvent, which I've got inside here, and I'll use a paintbrush with that. Then you have the you can use a Winsor Newton Pro Marker brush blender. The risk with this is it can bleed through to the other side, so I would only recommend using it on pictures that are single-sided. And then I have a burnisher, not my favorite. It's supposed to really push into the tooth of the paper and burnish it, so this, I'm not very good with that one. And then somewhere around here I have the Derwent, yeah, oh there it is, the Derwent blender pencil, which I'm quite familiar with, and it works well. If you use your normal light color pencil to blend everything out and push it into the tooth of the paper, you don't compromise on the tonal value, but you are also using quite a lot of pigment. So, you know, if you're precious about your polys and your prismas, or like Holbeins and that sort of thing, you may not feel comfortable doing that. It really does boil down to personal preference and style. Hi Dawn, nice to have you. I don't blame you nodding off in the heat. My goodness, the heat can really drain a person. We've been quite tired as well because of the heat on our side. So hope you feel refreshed after nodding off. I must say, I went through a phase with the Derwent blender where I used it so much when I was doing my drawings, and then I don't know if it was just a reaction with the paper and coloring books, but then it felt like it would just leave these grey streaks in my coloring, so it put me off and I stopped with that, and I just used the lightest pencil or a white pencil to blend everything in. But I'm trying to go back to it now, and I did use it in one of my portraits. I'm trying to finish a portrait whip, and it did come out okay, and it didn't leave it too funny. So it might have just been the paper. I tell you, paper and adult coloring, it's a real thing. I didn't realize how much of a thing it was until just recently. Paper really plays a role in your coloring, and it affects your pencils and the mediums you use and all of that. Alright, I'm going to get a light grey, so I want a really light grey, probably a cool grey 1. Yeah, cold grey 1. You could probably use a white here as well. Well, as far as whether blender pencils are worth buying, I think that's personal preference. I wouldn't really know. I haven't used it enough to really say if it's worth buying. I've heard that the Prisma blender is quite good, but you don't like the Prisma, so that won't work for you. I've tried the Lyra Rembrandt blender as well, but it's quite hard. So I think if you're open to a bit of trial and error, you could use, you could try and see if it works for you. I think for me, at the moment, I'd probably kind of put it off, but that's just me being my personal opinion. I'm not sold on the blender pencils at the moment, but it can change. One day you're not into it, a year or two later, and it's the best thing out there. So it really all just depends. Okay, I'm going to blend this now with an odorless spirit. So just give me 1 second to get some paintbrushes. Right, so this is the solvent I use. It's for oil paint. It came in a set that I got given a while ago, so it's just what I have. You can use turpentine as well, and it works the same thing in oil painting. So that's what I've got in this section here, this little portion of it. And then you want to use just a regular paintbrush. Doesn't have to be terribly fancy. Again, paintbrushes are quite personal. Some people prefer certain types. So I'm probably gonna go for these two brushes. So these are quite old. I got them years ago. And then I've got this little cloth, and I'm going to just use that to dab off any excess, because you really don't need a lot of solvent. So I'm going to use this brush. It's a Daleroni flat, number 12. I don't even remember what sort of hairs they are. So just dip it into the solvent, and you want to dab off as much of it as possible, because you really don't want a lot. And I also just wipe it off on my cloth here. And then you just go in your color and just blend everything out. The nice thing about using these sort of solvents, you're not damaging the tooth of the paper, so you're just pushing the pigment around. And what works great with that is you can still go and add more layers because the paper is not damaged. If you use a blending pencil or a burnisher or even a white pencil, you damage the tooth of the paper the harder you press, which is fine if you've reached the end and you don't want to put more layers on, but if you still want to layer up and do a lot more layers, that can be a bit more problematic. So I'm just going in the opposite direction I put the pencil on, because I want to make sure I'm pushing that pigment into all directions of the paper and not the same direction. And then if you need a bit more, just touch it in. I'll put this here for you so you can see. So you just dip the tip in, dab it off on the edges on your paint, on your cloth, and then you carry on. Really, really easy. And then I'm going to just follow that same method for the rest of the page. Just wipe off any excess. You can also use a Q-tip. You don't need to use a paintbrush. A Q-tip or a cotton bud works pretty much the same. So on the bottom here I have less layers, and I can actually see that I have less layers. Hi Cal, nice to have you. Welcome. Hope you're well. And if you look here, it's looks discolored, and that's just the solvent. It will dry, and it won't look weird. It's just wet. And then when I'm done, we'll check the other side, and fingers crossed it hasn't seeped through. If it has, I'll just deal with it. You know, consider it a challenge. I'll lift it up for you, and you can see with the solvent. So here we go. So if you look on this side, there's no solvent there, and compare it to the other side, it's a little bit less granular. So it's got a smoother finish, and that's how I know. And if it stops really moving the pigment around, then I feel that brush might be a bit dry, so I just dip it back in. And based on what I've heard from more experienced artists, you do get used to it. It takes a little bit of getting used to. I'm going to swap over to a smaller brush because this section here is quite small and it really just saps everything up. Right, there you go. So there's our sky, and we've blended it through with our solvents. I hear you, Carl. I hear you. I keep it in this small container and I put quite a little bit in so that it hopefully doesn't spill. But I don't use it for every picture. I just play with it every now and then. I tend to still blend with my pencils. Okay, so now we're going to do the water. So I'm going to create a quite dark over here, so you emphasize the horizon. And I want to start off with a Helio Turquoise, which is 155. And then I'm going to go over it with my Prussian Blue. And then I want to use my indigo, my deep indigo, because I really want to create that very deep horizontal line. I was up until 3 this morning testing different software, and I got absorbed in the page I was coloring. So I can feel my brains switching off slowly. No, Val, I'm not removing the video. I'm going to edit the disclaimer. I didn't get to editing it when I went live. And then I saw it and I thought, oh, well, I'm a bit late trying to get this video working, so I will definitely be changing everything when I am finished with the live and I go in and just clean things up. So yeah, don't worry, you'll have the video. I'm not deleting it. I'm still getting the hang of how this all works, and before we know it, it's going to be smooth. Okay, so I want to be careful here because here on this side I've got the wave rising up to the boat, so I want to actually create this a bit lighter, but here it's creating a V, or not a V, like a triangle, I suppose, like a weird V. So I want that portion to be quite dark, and then I'm going to come dark in here where these waves are, and that's how I'm going to vary the shade so that I have light hitting on dark. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to use the light Cobalt Turquoise, and I'm just going to lay a base around here. So I have my lightest color, and sometimes I will do this on purpose because it helps me get my head around the picture and see where everything is. Yes, Cal, I'm coloring in Meine Reise Durch Europa, or My Travel Through Europe by Rita Berman. She does have a new book launching soon, and it is set in Asia, so I'm looking forward to that one. I'll definitely be getting it because I'm really enjoying her travel series. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with my Helio Turquoise. So I'm just trying to create a bit of color depth and variety in this wave. And then I'm going to get my Prussian Blue. Yes, she may release free PDFs. I'm not sure. I have seen when she did the Europa book, there were a variety of colorists who did color in some of her introductory pages. and I think that was part of promoting her new book, so it makes sense that she would do something similar. And then I'm coming back in with my light Cobalt Turquoise, 154. And here I'm using a medium pressure. And this is where I will blend with the lighter pencil, because I don't want to darken this up more. So I'll just blend this out. Hi Emily, great to have you. Ooh, what flavor ice cream are you eating? That sounds yum. My one son wanted waffles for his birthday, so we went and bought waffles at the grocery store and then ice cream, and they picked a cherry vanilla flavor ice cream, which actually wasn't too bad. I'm going to get a Ivory, and the reason I'm using Ivory is because the sun is out, so it won't be that milky white, and it will also have a slight yellowish tinge to it. And here you can see I'm using it to burnish and blend out the page. Oh wow, peanut butter ice cream. I've not had peanut butter ice cream. Yeah, mint and chocolate is yum. Okay, and now I'm going to make my darks dark and come back in with the dark indigo. Thanks, Emily. Oh, and me, as far as ice cream, chocolate, hands down. I love chocolate. Or a Ferrero Rocher type chocolate ice cream. That's quite yum. I quite like those. But a few years ago, I found out I'm a little bit sensitive to dairy, so I tend to have to go for the vegan ice creams or have a small amount of regular ice cream. Otherwise, it's just not conducive to success. And then some more light Cobalt Turquoise. Okay, so now we're going to carry on the same thing. Over here. So here we're coming more into the waves splashing on the beach. So I want to be careful because I do want to use some of the white of the paper to create those waves. I'm just tidying up these little bits here. Okay, here we go. All right, what? We just do this. So again, I'm just getting my head around these little swirls. And then I'll come here. I'll have to think about this one. Hi Val, no, Sean's not with me. He's been putting the boys to bed. Oh, thanks, Cal. This is this what you're talking about, Dawn? This is a Derwent electric eraser. I just recently got it because my one Tombow eraser broke. So I thought for the same price as a Tombow, I can get an electric eraser, and it's really, really handy. And you can pull it out and you've got the eraser and you just move it around and then pop it back in. So really, really handy. I quite like it, and it lifts the pigment very, very well. Yeah, I'm so happy with it too. I actually, to be honest, it's turned out a lot better than I thought it would. You know, I thought, oh, it's just a gimmick. But it's really, really handy. So I can see what all the fuss is about. So I'm really pleased I got one. So I'm back with the Helio Turquoise, and I'm just building up my layers. Yeah, I've only had this eraser for, I think, possibly about a month now. So I'm still, testing it. But then again, to be honest, it's Derwent, and Derwent does make pretty good stuff. They are an artist brand, so one would expect their things to really be good quality. What sharpener do I use? I have the Cobalt, which I have been using for a while, but I found with this one and the Prismas, I need to replace it every 6 to 9 months, and they're going for about £8. And then when I was on holiday, I got myself just a regular sharpener. It was under £1, and this thing I think actually sharpens better than the Cobalt, especially when the blades are brand new. They sharpen really well. So I'm kind of going with either way. I have to replace sharpeners. I might as well. I think I'm going to try this one for a while. But yes, the Cobalt is handy because you can, choose which setting you want. So one, it creates a very short nib. The bigger the number, the longer the point gets. And for a while I kept it on 2 for my Prismas because it stopped them breaking. And you don't really need Prismas to be overly long and sharp because it does cause them to break a lot faster. But with this regular sharpener, it works really well for both the polys and the Prismas, and even some of my other pencils. And the other trick I've been learning recently is every now and then take a regular pencil and sharpen it, just, graphite, and it clears any oil and wax residue on the sharpener and just helps. So that's what I've been using. Yeah, Carl, I would, you possibly need a new Cobalt sharpener. I have an electric sharpener, but I don't recommend at least the brand I've got because it stops-starts so much, and I think it's because the polys and the Prismas aren't actually thick enough to register the sensor. So I find it very frustrating. Some people do use those hand crank ones, which I've heard is better. And the whole theory with the sharpener is, when you go to school, you're taught turn the pencil, but we've been taught wrong. What we need to be doing is hold the pencil in the other hand and rotate the sharpener over the pencil, and that just helps prevent any breakage, because we can put pressure on the pencil when we hold it, and if we hold it too tight, especially with things like Prismas, it breaks the core, whereas turning the pencil sharpener, you're rotating it over the pencil, and it's just much better and gentler on the pencil itself. So that's another thing I've been learning. Oh, I beg your pardon. Is it Kaylee? Is that right? Because the way you spell it reminds me of a lady I know when I was growing up, and she was called Cully. So that's why I was asking, is it pronounced Kaylee? Oh, Carly, is that right? Carly. Oh, it's Carly. I will do my best to try and... Okay, cool. I want to make sure I pronounce your name right. So I'm just making the centers dark, and then bringing the pigment out, so making it lighter as I come out. And then I'm going to go back to the, no, I don't want that one, I want the Helio. Southern California, that must be lovely. Are you near the beach? I'd love to go to California. I've never been to the States, so it'd be lovely to go one day, hopefully. Okay, then I'm going to come back with the light Cobalt Turquoise. Yes, I'm in the UK. But I'm not British, I'm South African. I grew up in Mozambique and then spent my teen years in South Africa, was born in South Africa, and then we moved to the UK. And while I was growing up in Mozambique, I met quite a few Americans. So at one stage, I even developed an American accent, which didn't, when I got to my teen years, it vanished and I was left with the beautiful South African accent. Alright, now I'm going to get that ivory and brighten this up. And then I'll take a Sakura jelly roll and we'll go over and just add a bit of white with the Sakura jelly roll. We could even add some white dots into the waves just to make it look a bit more splashy. So we might do that. Alright, so I can't tell. I think this is water. What do you think? Do you think it's water or sand? Because I'm leaning towards water, but I'm not 100% sure. I've been coloring since May 2020. I did start up in 2013, but it didn't take off for me. So I stopped and did drawing instead, but then I picked it up during lockdown. And yeah, this time around it stuck. And you? So I'm busy just while I'm waiting to see if anyone else agrees that this is water. I'm just coming here to the coffee cup and I'm going to do the coffee collar and the lid a green, kind of like a Starbucks green. So I'm just checking which colors to use. I think I'm going to use a juniper green. Oh wow, you use markers. That's so cool. I really struggle with markers. I think because it's permanent. So I really admire people's work when they use markers and create such beautiful colorings with them. I'm only now starting to try use markers as a base to pencils. Only because I'm starting to get impatient. It's like, no, I've got so many books I want to color in and I don't want to spend forever on the same books. So I'm using permanent green olive and juniper green. And then I'm going to blend it out with the ivory because I think that will work. And we're going to create the cup with a bit of grays. So let's get a warm grey 2 And we're just going to use the grey to just shape the cup, because you know we want it to be a bit white. And we'll take a warm grey 5 just underneath the lid, because that lid is going to create a bit of a shadow. Okay, cool. So we're saying it's water. Okay, I will make it water. There's apparently no wrong way in coloring, so we will make it ours. And then this is a cool grey one, just to blend out. And a white pencil. Oh, okay, cool, Val, thank you. Okay, cool, Dawn, you're also saying it's water. All right, so we'll treat it like water. So we'll use the same colors. Okay. Light Cobalt Turquoise. Thanks for checking, guys, and for helping. I really appreciate that. It's what I love about coloring. It's always somebody you can ask and get some insight, because you know it's like different eyes, different perspectives, and then work it out, and it still turns out absolutely exquisite. Yeah, every now and then you can get really lucky in some of these coloring groups, and I think it was a Jash Lee picture I was coloring in, and he's in the Friends of Coloring Heaven Facebook group. So when I was asking about some of the body armor, they actually tagged him, and I was able to get his input on what was body armor and what was clothing. It really helped to know exactly what the illustrator had wanted. So every now and then that happens, and it's really, really brilliant. But I love the coloring community, because everyone is really, you know, friendly and helpful, and it's just so nice. Okay, so now I'm going to get the Helio Blue, and in here make that dark. and then the Prussian Blue. And then back to the light Cobalt Turquoise. I like Hannah Lynn's pages. I don't actually color, I don't really have a lot of her work. There was, I think it's, YouTube channel is called Amberle Silencia. She does the most exquisite button noses on Hannah Lynn pages, and it's just amazing what she does. It really just brings those pages to life in a way I've not seen, and so I want to at some point go and watch some of her videos and see how she colors these button noses, because it really looks great. But the only Hannah Lynn pages I have are in Colouring Heaven's Cutesy Christmas special. But I do like watching other people's colorings. Yeah, Val, I saw that there wasn't a lot of people who colored this page, which in some ways is nice because you get to use your own imagination, but in other ways it's a bit daunting because then when you get stuck, you know, nobody to hold my hand. And this is back to the ivory again, just to create those light highlights. And here I don't mind the ivory turning some of the blue into a bit of a greenish tinge, because the ocean water is many different shades, and I quite like this effect. It's really looking nice. Yeah, me too. I also like drama-free communities. I think life has enough drama of its own. We don't need to add to it. Okay, so we're gonna come up here to the clouds, and we can do them. Okay, so this is a warm grey 3. So with clouds, the bottom of the cloud tends to be darker and the top of the cloud tends to be lighter. So Val, you did ask for videos to show you how to color in clouds, so we'll get onto that as soon as possible. And it's not too difficult. Like the basics are, you have dark at the bottom and then light at the top. And then here we're going to use a cold grey 1. And we can use a Posca pen or a white Sakura jelly roll, and we'll add those white highlights in even more. Now I want a bit of yellow because I want to pick up some of the yellow highlights in the clouds. then I'm going to use a little bit of Payne's Grey, just right at the bottom. You don't want to use too much because we do want to keep them quite light. And then I'm going to blend it out with white. So here I'd use the hard pressure and just blend it all out. A wisp of wind. Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't think of that at all. I just like, oh, it's clouds. Oh, how would you color it if it was wind? Thanks, Dawn. Enjoy your nap. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, Val, don't be sorry. I really appreciate all your requests. I really don't mind. It's not a problem at all. Okay, I'm going to use Jelly Roll 08 to create these highlights. Now, if you put too much Jelly Roll, don't worry, you can take a pen and you can just scratch off any Jelly Roll that you don't want. Nothing is ever too bad. So like there, and then I just take pen and I can just push it around before it sets. The other thing, if you don't know what something is in a picture, and you know, you can always just whiten it out or color over it, and then you don't have to really worry about it. You can make the picture what you want. There you go, something like that. And then if we take the same pen and just, if I can get it to work, there we go. Yes, you can do snow very similar with as clouds. I tend to use blues and pinks, and sometimes I'll use a slate grey, and I like the effect it gives. It's not too dark. It's quite light, but then again, it depends on how deep the shadows go. So if the shadows are going quite deep, I'll use more of a slate grey or darker purple and blue, and then I go over everything with a white pencil just to blend it all out, and it just softens it up. But yeah, snow is really easy, and so are snowmen. They're not difficult at all to colour. And if you use a bit of yellow in the highlights, you can actually capture that kind of glowy effect when you have a sunny day and the sun is hitting the snow. I don't have a snow video. I can do one for you though, because I do have a couple of pages with snow, so I can very easily do a snow video for you and have it up on the weekend. It's actually on my to-do list, so don't worry, Val. It's on. I'll do it this weekend for you guys. Would you like it slowed down, so real time, so you can see, or do you mind if it's sped up a bit? I mean, which do you prefer? You can use Posca or Jelly Roll or Sakura, whichever you prefer. I think it really does boil down in some ways to personal preference. I tend to prefer the Sakura Jelly Rolls and the Uniball Signo Pen. I find Posca works really well for the covering up black lines, and then I color over those. Okay, I'll do it real time with pleasure. Not a problem. Happy to do that for you both. So here I just want to smoothen that out. Oh, thanks, Val. So here I'm going to white this up because it's touching the ground, and then we can move on to something else. Yes, I will finish this page and the lives. Not sure how many lives it will take to finish. Hopefully in the next one. Because I would like to actually move through them quickly and be able to have a variety of pages that we can color together, whether it's in Europa or other books. I don't mind, but I don't want to take like 8 live videos to finish one page. I can't do that to you guys. Alright, so let's see, shall we do the boat? Can do the sail red and white, and the boat can be brown. So let's get a raw umber, a nougat, and a walnut brown. Alright, there's the walnut brown, the nougat, and I think I said the raw umber. Okay, so this is the raw umber, and I'm just going to clean up the boat here because we don't want blue. And we'll do the mast. Alright, then the nougat. Now the sun is here, so it's going to touch on this side of the boat. So we'll leave this section here light to show that it's catching some of the sunlight. And then the walnut brown. And I'll use a warm grey 5. Then come back to the raw umber. And then I will blend it out with a light yellow ochre. And walnut brown here. light the raw umber and some of that light yellow ochre. And then we're going to go to red. So let's take a scarlet red. Oh, thanks, Dawn. Oh, it's a pleasure to keep you company, Val. I actually enjoy the lives almost a bit more than filming color-alongs, because I actually have someone to talk to. Talking out loud to yourself while videoing and coloring just feels a bit odd. I don't mind, but the lives really do bring that feeling of sort of having someone to talk to, so I quite like that. I'm using a middle cadmium red. And then I'm going to go back to the scarlet red. No, I would expect if there's a lot of bickering, it wouldn't be so much fun. Hopefully that won't happen. It'd be sad if it did happen. You know, the whole point of coloring is to enjoy it and to share it with each other. Oh, and this is a light cadmium red. Oh, thanks, Val. I'm glad they're helpful, and I'm glad, yeah, I'm really glad that they're helpful and that you enjoy the way I explain things. I like the whole concept of if you understand how to do something, it's easy to do it well. So I'm really, you know, I think understanding stuff is really important. Okay, so here I'm going to make this like a white sort of sail. So we'll use, that was the ivory, now I'm going to use the light yellow ochre. and I'll possibly use a little bit of the raw umber, so it's that off-white kind of look. Do you think the drama in some of those live videos is done by trolls? I mean, would you say that? I've heard that you can get trolls on internet, and their whole mission seems to be just to stir up trouble. Seems like the bigger you are, the higher potential you have of getting trolls on even like your comments and that sort of thing. And then we'll do the flags similar. So the ivory, and then a bit of the light yellow ochre, and a bit of the raw umber, and I think I'm going to black out this section here. So this is black. Yeah. Oh, Dawn, I'm glad you haven't had any lives with bickering on, or gone to any of those sort of lives. It makes sense that it would be people just wanting to stir up trouble, because I don't see the point of it really. I mean, everybody's just coming to learn from each other, have a chat, and just enjoy the process, learn a bit. I don't see the point of causing trouble. I mean, what's there to argue over? Yeah. All right, there you go. There's our boat. And let's see, what else can we do? Shall we do the fish? I always get stuck on fish. It's so funny. Oh, that makes sense that they would have moderators. Yeah, I think you would need to, because you can't color in and chat and still remove trolls. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. Okay, so fish. Which color shall we do it? Oh gosh, see, this is where I get stuck. Alright, we're gonna move on to the flowers. I don't know what to do with the fish. Oh goodness. Okay, I want to do white, yellow flowers here, and we can do pink pansies. So light chrome yellow. And we can do the centers with gel pens. It'll actually look really nice. go. Cheers, Carly. Lovely to have met you, and I hope you have a lovely rest of the weekend. See you next week. Yeah, I think a lot more people are nicer than they're given credit for. How long have you been colouring, Dawn? Oh, absolutely, Val. It's that whole principle of what we do to others. You know, treat other people the way we want to be treated. I totally agree with you. And I suppose it also comes down to that whole thing of, you know, respect is earned. So if I want to be respected by others, I need to, you know, behave in a respectful way. Oh, absolutely. I completely agree with you, Dawn. So I'm doing these flowers like this because I'm going to go over them with the Uniball Signo pen or the white Sakura Jelly Roll, and I'm going to make them into like yellow white flowers, and I'll give them a glittery center. So we can use a green gel pen, a glitter gel pen. I love glitter gel pens. I remember as a kid, I would, if we got gel pens, I loved writing in the glitter gel pens just because my handwriting would then sparkle. I'm just quickly going to get the gel pens. So here we go. Glitter gel pens. Actually, could even use a yellow gel pen. Let's see, will this work? Oh gosh, no, that's too like bright green. Ew. Look how, there we go. See, I get to experiment and you guys see what doesn't work, and then you can do all the right things on your pages and I have to fix it on mine. It's the beauty of it. I actually enjoy the experimentation of colouring, and also how so often there is, you know, you can experiment, and if it doesn't work, if you catch it quickly, you can wipe it away and nothing's really too ruined. I do like that. the white gel pens were one of the first things I bought after watching a couple of Chris Cheng's videos, and I think I watched some Zucchini Kitty, and seeing the use of the white pen, I was like, oh wow, that is amazing. So it really is, like I'd say, one of my top must-haves in coloring. Wow, you've been coloring for 5 years. That is amazing. And it's lovely that you can invest so much time. Yeah, we'd love to see your beautiful colorings, Dawn, if you don't mind us having a look and following you on Instagram, if you do have an Instagram account. Okay, cool. I'll go follow you after the live. I'll go find you on Instagram and follow you. Okay, there we go. So now we'll do the pink flowers. So I'm going to start off with Pink Madder Lake. Oh yeah, Chris Cheng is amazing. This is the light purple pink. And then I need a darker pink, so I'm going to possibly use a magenta. I just want to sharpen it quickly. And the magenta is just going to go in my shadows. Should I zoom in a bit more for you? Oh dear. Is that a bit better? You gotta love predict text or typos. Happens to the best of us. See how many times I type stuff into Google and it's typed wrong. It's like, ah, no. Okay, now I'm going to use my white and I'm going to blend this out. And then I'm going to use a black gel pen for these dots here. And I'll just come and make this one pink as well. So that was light purple pink, and I'll just use the magenta. And we can take some Sakura jelly roll and we can just turn it into like a pinky white flower. And we'll give it a green center. And we can quickly do her hair actually. We'll just use some of the pencils I've got out. So we give her like brown hair. Raw umber. Some Nougat. Some Ivory. And we'll go Walnut Brown. And some warm grey 4. And back in with some light yellow ochre. Some walnut brown. And some ivory. Warm grey 5. And her hair is done, and I just did that all off camera. I'm so sorry. There you go, that's what it looks like. So I just did a quick feathering, the top here under the hat's shadow and the tips shadow, and then the side here is the highlight. And we can actually give her a pink swimsuit. So if we come in with the pink madder lake, and some ivory here. Then come in with the light purple pink. And the magenta. And the pink madder lake. The white. And the magenta again. And then we can do the ribbon on her hair, on her hat, also pink. So Pink Madder Lake. The light purple pink. And then the magenta. And then white. I'm going to bring in a bit more of the Pink Madder Lake. How do you mean the sea looks a bit too flat? Which parts are you referring to? The whole sea, or are there other areas that you're feeling are a bit flat? So I'm just thinking that maybe we make the hat, I don't want to do it yellow because the ground is yellow. It's got a yellow undertone. So maybe we can do that. And she's got brown hair, so I'll give her hat some thought. Maybe we'll make it a grey. I could try. So you're saying it needs a bit of sparkle. Am I understanding you correctly? So you're not saying the tones. You're saying it needs a bit more life. I could add some sparkle pen to it, and maybe a bit more. I do have blue glitter. So let's have a look. I will put some on, and then if it works before it dries, we can leave it. If it doesn't work, I'll just wipe it off. Alright, let's see. So I've got Dovecraft glitter glue, and I have the Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. If I use the sparkle pen, even if it doesn't work, it's not an issue. I don't mind it being on. And then we can also add some of the Dovecraft glitter glue and see how it goes. So let's see if I add that on. In the deeper areas, it will look something like that. What do you think of this so far? I don't mind doing some more. Is this working? I can put some Spectrum first. Okay, so I've got the Spectrum Noir. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Here's the Spectrum Noir gushing out. I love this pen. I'm not always 100% sure though that you can see the glitter. So I'll do Spectrum Noir on all of it here. Just really sparkle this up. I can would you like a bit more of the other glitter? There you go. So that's with a whole lot of Spectrum Noir. I've put some glitter glue in here in the shadows. To be honest, I hadn't even thought about glitter yet. What I like with the Spectrum Noir more than the stickles or the Dovecraft glitter glue is at least when you put it on, you don't get like a bumpy texture. So it's easy to color the other side in. may also be that some of these bits needed a bit more shadow in, and that's why it's looking a bit flat. So if I come, I'm going to see if I can quickly add a bit more to here. Because sometimes if we don't have enough shadow, that's what gives it that flat color. And that may be also what you were picking up on, is a lack of shadows. Alright, I can't do too much. Cool. Glad you're happy. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Right. What else? I think that's it for today. Because to be honest with you, I could go on and I could keep you here for another 2 hours very easily. I can get so engrossed. I think it's possible that we could potentially have this done next week. I'm hoping. I just wanted to wipe a blob of glitter glue off there. So if I come here quickly and I flip over to this side and bring it over, so where we did the blending with the sky, it hasn't bled through at all, and the page isn't really, it's buckled a little bit but not much, and you can color the other side without having any issues. So hence blending with the odorless mineral spirits does help a lot, and you don't have to worry about bleed through too much, and it dries quickly, so that's quite helpful. Oh, it's a pleasure, Val. Thank you so much for joining me. I love chatting to you. I've loved chatting to you too, Dawn, and anyone else who's watching. Thanks so much for joining. I look forward to our next live, and at least I know this app worked much better than last week's one, so yay for that. Take care and have a good weekend, and I will see you in our next video. Bye.